Right, so you rolled a d20. Getting a natural 20 on the recap d20 means you get to choose who does it.
I feel like quote is most likely have the funniest way of phrasing this.
All right. Then please, Twig, from Twig's perspective, tell us what happened last time.
Hello. After landing back in Luxnox from our adventure in the pyramid, we teleported right into the palace of Queen Zozore, and we were led into the pillow room. We ended up talking about everything we had learned about the administrator and the lich that was after the other Emberblade Braziers, as well as the soul that was trapped in the Emberblade, the soul of Phoenix. And not long after taking our rest, we set off to Plid in search of the airship so we could try to make our way to the next Brazier. And we met one of our old friends, the Viravaj, the Dragonborn, who's surely going to enjoy seeing us around again.
Okay, indeed. And Viravaj, this surly red dragonborn, does give you all kind of like a scowl upon seeing your group once more, and then just huffs and walks away with some kind of like half-drunk ambulatory measure, but oh well. So you're on board this sky-faring vessel. The wind kind of rippling around through the sails. There's a bit of a hustle and a bit of a bustle going on as the crew part of the workers that helped build the ship are now crewing it, and they're just walking around making sure everything is going on. The rigging, they're pulling on the ropes, they're making sure the sails are good. You've got the Raven at the helm, steering, question mark, and the sea of sand of Khorzaire lies below you. Many things moving around. It looks like things are going well for once. The Raven does some calculation and chirps out that it will take some few hours to reach Zozo. You can see the Laughing Gorge below you, this bottomless pit that was sliced into Khorzaire, dividing its land in twain. What would you like to do? The ship is yours. And
Xalia's gonna throw a rock into the pit.
Okay, certainly. Where'd you get the rock?
She's been carrying them.
All right. You're right.
Let me check her inventory.
Oh my
Does she
goodness.
have rocks?
You do.
Does she have a disposal rock? Then if she has a rock friend.
You've got that minecart rubble from all that time ago.
Okay. Yes. We're throwing that over.
All right. Let's see. I did forget to preload some sounds, but this shouldn't be much of an issue. You'll all watch as Xalia, who was previously kind of half off of the railing of the ship, just looking around in excitement, reels herself back and digs through this satchel, pulls out some kind of metal railing, some rocks, and like a like a small wheel and just hurls them off of the ship.
He watches them as they plummet into the gorge.
They make that kind of noise as they disappear into the darkness, never to be seen again. It's at this point,
unless
Xalia triggers a music change. You're really flying now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I just got rid of some ballast.
Yep, the ship buoys as you get rid of this weight. And you're flying even more smoothly.
Twig is like watching the rocks plummet down, and he like backs away from the railing a little, looking a bit green around the gills.
I think Chuman was holding on to the rail initially from the constant bobbing, but now that the ship is smoothed out, he's gaining his bearings again.
Up to you guys.
Whether what happens?
Whether something happens. You've got some time aboard the airship. It's gliding through the sky with ease, like the sails gently flapping in the wind currents, and you can, the wooden hull kind of creaks just a little with the strain and pressure. I guess errant gusts will occasionally buffet the deck. But everyone on the crew seems to have their tasks, and they don't really pay you much mind. You can see people moving below deck to rest a moment. They come back out later. Raven's always at the helm steering. There's the wide sky before you. What would you like to get into?
Xalia's gonna just stand on deck, like head over the railing, just enjoying the view, enjoying watching things fly by her. And if you're watching her, you're gonna see her hair change colors, make a little scintillating pattern as it flips through the air, eyes and mouths and teeth disappearing in and out of existence. But she's having fun. She's enjoying the ride.
Nice. What's Veravelge doing?
He is stumbling around on deck. You can see him grab some ropes tied to the sail and just kind of hold them and release some strain, put the strain back, and then retie them. He's make an insight check.
Insights.
What do we get? A 12? Okay. He's definitely busy. He's doing his darndest to make sure that his side of things are in working order. And then eventually he'll go below deck. Just
I like that sound effect. That was good.
Surprised he did all of that while he was pseudo drunk.
Chuman says.
I think Chuman, after he kind of gets his bearings back, he's gonna look around to kind of see the ship in motion. Just to see the scenery now that he's not flying on a raptor that's doing barrel rolls.
let's see. So you join Xalia and check out the sites. You can see Xalia's ever-shifting, ever-scintillating.
It's like an oil flick in like Mosaic, and changing. Changing positions with the hair flapping. Obviously, like the texture and weight of the hair changes as well. Sometimes you see a tendril snap in there,
Let's see. Give me a slide me a perception check. Both of you, if you like.
All right.
16.
I was filling a glass of water.
Okay, not bad. So, the two of you, you can definitely cast your eyes out on this sea of clouds rather than sea of sand. And up here is markedly different than down there in the dunes. It's still... the temperature is still balmy, but you've got the lovely breeze flowing through rippling through your clothes, through your hair, and through your tendrils, and whatever else. And let's see. Up here, indeed, you can see buoying through the blue yonder plenty of floating land masses. Down on the ground, it's not really in blatant vision because you have to look up. You have to change your gaze. Up here, it's the entire horizon, as these land masses are floating in the sky alongside you, higher a bit, some a bit lower. Each of them slightly different. You can see massive ruins. You can see huge, tall mountains. You can see even ones that could be described as porous, where it has massive tunnels going through, or just holes shot straight through the through the landmass. All unmistakably peppered with the glint of dragon shards embedded in these landmasses, buoying them up into the air. I think with a 16, you can also see dragon shards just floating by themselves, just rolling around. An uncommon sight, surely, but just every once in a while you'll see a larger dragon shard just rotating by itself.
It's like away, like kind of like in between the land masses.
Yeah, that's right. As the trip goes on, everyone or anyone can see one of the land masses holding what looks to be an actual castle on this thing. It's a huge floating platform.
I mean, has that been there? What do we know what that's name is, if it had one? Or is it like an ancient thing that like recently rose into the sky?
You're not sure?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do we remember seeing it? Like a history check?
Well, you haven't been this way, so I think the history check would definitely belong to Makayla.
We haven't been this way? I mean, aren't we technically going back to where we came?
You are heading.
Sort of?
You're heading sort of like northwest.
Okay.
We're technically heading to Derlusk.
Yeah, which is northwest-ish from
21.
From where you were. A 21 is pretty stout. Let's see, Makayla, you are aware of this one's existence. You had perhaps thought it more in a different area. It looks displaced, or it seems displaced now. But yeah, you are aware that there is just a castle chilling above Khorzaire. You do know that it is monster infested. A couple expeditions have attempted to explore it. The first one ended in a catastrophe. The second one's sort of just like, nah, never mind.
Okay.
It does have a name. It is Casual Speltiger, which is, I'll spell it.
Okay, thank you.
It's very old.
Speltiger. Okay.
The wind is sort of breezing through, flying. Chuman just kind of continues gazing through. Sight is quite breathtaking. Never seen anything like this before. On seeing the castle, kind of is confused at first, considering that he's only seen castles on the ground. I assume that is normal. Kind of says it out loud as it's pointing.
It wasn't always floating, is what you were saying. You said, Accel?
Was always floating, but the last time you saw it, it was and it was closer to Hollandis. So
Okay.
it seems to be moving.
Bailey's pulling out her magnifying glass and looking at this thing.
I assume this is normal for Khorzaire.
It means I've slid you a note.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Makayla. It's a pretty old castle. It's been in the sky as long as I remember, but not. I suppose not these skies. Maybe closer to Hollandis, but. Suppose there's nothing necessarily stopping it from the Earth itself.
I see.
Perhaps by some similar mechanisms or phenomena that, well, old ruin. All those weeks back.
See. Is that normally something that is fixable?
Well, I think the point is for it to be in the air. Arguably a lot more efficient than any sort of moat would be, right? Harder to get into, harder to storm.
Suppose that is a fair point.
Air is usually harder to swim in than water.
Mm-hmm. Well, not a little harder.
Twig, are you alright? You sound fairly distressed.
I'll be fine. I just haven't gotten my sea legs, so to speak.
Good.
Whatever.
Wings?
Something like that.
At the rate that this is flying, I'm sure we wouldn't be on this for too long, so...
I mean, flight is disorienting at first, but you do get used to it.
I'll take your word for it.
Sounds as if you've been on this many times before.
I've been on a flying ship, that's new. First of its kind, if my memory serves me. Been in the air before, yes. Sort of hover or walk in the air. Used to be, but more extensive for longer periods.
I see.
It's
You have much more experience.
familiar. Yes. It's a familiar one I've missed sorely.
Valuable experience, to at least say the least. With it being my first time, it feels, well, words can't simply describe it. It's a multitude of feelings.
It's a lot to take in.
Pastiche,
Yes?
how are you on this flight?
You'll see Pastiche kind of looking more towards the sky, upward, than down at the clouds. It's nice.
Yes.
First time with flight, or I mean, you have your teleports.
Well, it is my first time, but Pastiche kind of trails off. Seems distracted by something.
Seem to have a lot on your mind.
You could say that, yes. I believe I will head below deck for a while. Take a break from all of this.
Understandable.
I'm sure ahead of us when we land, so
I'm sure he'll be
Rest.
fine.
Xalia?
Besides, we've been in a lot of heated situations. Xalia?
You don't see her.
he's just on the wall.
Yeah, she's like
Like on the
yeah.
side of the ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
As Pastiche goes below deck.
Bela's also going below deck.
Yeah.
It's outside.
Is also going below deck. Let's see here. So yeah, Twig, you watch as Xalia. First off, your magnifying glass, when you try to position it, doesn't really work too well. It's definitely out of focus. You're far too far away from it for just a magnifying glass. You need something like a spyglass or something like that in order to see onto that place properly. But you're probably after seeing if there's some kind of like
Reaction. Yeah.
No, also no reaction.
Damn.
So Twig, you watch as Xalia wiggles her extremities and mutters
You
something.
think for a moment that she's going over, and then you realize that she's just like it looks like she's falling for a moment, but then she isn't. She's stuck to the side and is continuing to walk on her hands and knees, basically. Actually, she's gonna flip her knees backwards, so she's like quadrupedal climbing.
There's a sudden commotion from the crew as they go, "Oh wait!" And then when the wave of realization hits as you pop your head back over, and then pop back down, you can hear the raven kind of like chirp amusedly, and the raven waves his wing and sends everyone back to their posts. Everyone's looking a little bit more wide-eyed. But Xalia, you are now below deck asterisk.
One might even say outside deck.
Yeah. You found the hidden third place to be. Let's see. So yeah, you've got the... what is down here. So, like, there's the keel of the ship, and there's, of course, the wooden beams that are forming. Just everything is wood. So it, like, various palms and various other savanna type tree bark that's composing the hull of this ship. The sails are full of air. They're just flapping gently in the breeze. Have a good time.
No one can see this, but she's like minor illusioning a little bits of fire under her hands and shaking her head, but she can't stop herself from doing it repeatedly. Hey, kitten.
What else is over here? Make a perception check.
1 second. I said second with a T.
Okay. 1 second. Dang it, actually could happen. Boop. But not this time. Alright. Yep, you're just enjoying yourself out here.
Gonna curl up on the bottom of the ship, like bottom left of it. Make like a cat and like loaf up.
After Chuman notices Xalia disappear, well, is she all right? Chuman tries to like look over the side, just to see if he can see her a little bit.
I think it's Xalia. I'm sure she'll be fine. Right?
I suppose that is true.
I mean, worst comes to worst, she'll cast that spell on herself.
She does have flight.
That's true.
I suppose we could just chop this up as Xalia's many unconventional ways to enjoy things.
Exactly.
Well, to each their own.
Xalia, will you roll me a strength check super quick? I hate to.
Okay.
I think Chuman will go kind of like step back away from the rail and kind of sit down to just sort of think to himself for a little bit.
Okay, 7. You're fine. The wind outside of the ship is definitely a little more forceful and threatens to buffet you off because spider climbing gives you the climbing speed. But you're fine for now. But probably spending the entire voyage, or probably spending like the total spell time of spider climb out here would tire you out.
Okay. When she feels herself getting tired, she'll climb up over this side.
Okay. But
just hop over the railing, shake out her knees to the right direction, and go back to standing.
Okay. But that'll happen later. But yeah, for now, that'll be the plan. So yeah, sorry to interrupt. Back to you, Chuman.
Oh no, I was saying that Chuman is going to step back from the railing, and then he's kind of sit down in between the barrel and the railing here. or like the stairs to kind of just think to himself as he listens to the wind rushing by.
Okay. You sit down and find a place to relax. Let's see, where you're at, the wind cannot reach you, but you certainly hear it, and it moves your close to you, so everything remains, refreshingly. Refreshing is a term reserved for Xalia. Refreshingly, like cooler up here. You can hear the grunts of exertion from the crew. Yeah. You can hear the outbursts from the Captain Raven. It's like, oh, we're really flying now! You can hear, like, mumbling from the crew as they shout orders yourself, like, or among themselves, like, move that, grab this.
I think Chuman is just gonna try to meditate for a little bit and just also enjoy the sounds as well as flying at the same time.
Sure.
Oh,
Sorry, I couldn't hear the sail noises on my end, so I boosted up, so it might be a little suddenly too loud for everybody, but no matter. We're adults.
I mean, Makayla just at some point is kind of standing at the prow of the ship. Hands on the railings, just eyes closed, face forward into the wind, just enjoying the feeling of flight and movement.
What's your passive perception?
Mine?
Yeah. What's Makayla's passive perception?
It's 18.
Okay.
Okay.
That's pretty strong. I think what happens is you are enjoying your time up on the up on the front. Just wind whipping through your hair. Your hood has been long since pushed down.
Yeah, I heard.
Cloak billowing behind you. You strike a noble and perhaps fitting. What's the word? Sight? No. Stature? No.
Silhouette.
Yeah, we'll do silhouette. Silhouette at the front of this, at the front of the thopter. I think. Well, not I think. What happens is, sitting there for about 10 minutes, you can hear what comes across your ears is a faint, little scree action, little hawk cry, little bird song. You hear like. Wait, I've got a.
Sorry, my internet's cutting in and out. Could you?
Yeah. So as you're standing there, just eyes closed, whipping in the wind, what reaches your ears is a faint bird sound, a little faraway scree. Just it comes from your as you're facing this. It comes from your east. So that'd be over.
I would look towards it.
All right. Well, you've got good eyes too, and there's a big ol' eagle. There's a big ol' bird over there. It seems small because it's kind of far away, It is coming closer to you, which makes apparent its size. It is easily as big as 4 of you put together. And it is in the distance for a little bit, but it seems to be... It veers towards your thopter, and it is approaching you.
So is it flying and it's just kind of getting closer? Us?
It was the former. Now it is heading directly to intercept your path.
Okay. I would... I mean...
Oh, whoops, why are we underwater?
Oh.
I didn't mean underwater.
Sure, I thought that was like an intentional audio chain.
What the heck? We're not underwater, we're sailing in the skies. There we go.
Yeah, Makayla would sort of yell back to everybody. Mind the birds. I might not always friendly.
When you say this, Raven perks up. Excuse me?
Well, Makayla would be like pointing towards this bird on the port.
Redirecting...
Or starboard.
Starboard, yes.
Starboard.
Redirecting the Raven and everyone else's attention. An exclamation point appears in existence above the Raven's head. And it immediately flies away from the helm and blasts through the partially open door that Pastiche went through below deck. Hide me! The helm is unattended.
Bird of prey versus prey bird.
I was able to pilot this ship. Looks.
The crew looks at you, kind of like with a just flat stone gaze. Just shake their head. One of them shrugs. Meanwhile, Giant Eagle.
Okay.
They got grocery stores up here?
You might be surprised.
Wait, is that like a fucking rural Ohio thing?
Is there a
think
grocery
so.
store called
Okay.
Eagle?
Yeah, is
Yeah,
there a grocery-
Giant Eagle.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I assume the steering function is the same as so. If there's no one there, it'll just be slowly spinning in a direction.
It sounds like that would be something good to confirm.
Yeah, make it a little bit. I guess.
I was gonna say, will we not feel the ship turning, sharply turning? If that's that was the
listing.
case? Yeah.
Not
This thing,
immediately, but maybe next round. I need some initiative.
Want to see me roll a 20?
Yes.
Oh, by the
Watch
way,
this.
they're
Nice 20.
below deck. there are portholes that you can view out. So Xalia, you can also see inside these portholes. Let's see here. What was it doing? Oh yeah, let's change the music. I didn't preload anything, I'm a fool.
No.
Whatever, adventure music. Let's see here. Begin something? Makayla, you're up. As this giant eagle... Oh, here, it'd be back here. As this giant eagle is heading directly perpendicular to your destination, it looks like its travel path is going to intersect with yours. So you hear this... And Raven flies below deck. You're not quite sure what's going on.
It's very funny because I'm pretty sure, assuming the thing doesn't have any like superior magical resistance, Xalia can instantly end this, but she's not paying attention.
Yeah, this would probably be like a surprise round where only Makayla and Giant Eagle go.
Mm-hmm.
What you got, Makayla? You're up.
Hold up. I guess it's kind of funny. Hold on. I mean, first, I guess try and have anything to like.
TikTok.
Fine.
I mean, someone's gonna
I'd try and
here.
use.
Let's make the giant eagle steer.
Every day I receive emails.
Oh no. Yeah, I mean, I just try and. Cast Magic Stone and just kind of. Not necessarily at the bird.
Okay.
Sort of in its. Like, not to hit it, but just. Flying towards us.
You're doing some warning shots.
Yeah, effectively.
Alright, roll me an attack roll for a warning shot. Dang!
27.
Alright. So you quickly go into your pouch of stones and you magic a couple of them up. You wing one right past the bird's beak, and maybe one goes rippling through its feathers, trying to deter it. Roll me intimidation.
Alright.
That'll definitely get you an intimidation.
Cool. 15.
Okay, 15. I will catalog this. Oh wait, no, it's the giant eagle's turn. We're gonna find out. Beep boop. Oh. All right. Giant eagle will take its turn, kind of like wheel around. Lets out another scream. Everyone can hear it now. It's very loud and very large. And then it wheels away and goes away. And then it flies away.
Nice.
Nice.
Crisis averted. Except now, without anyone at the helm, everyone feels the ship slowly lurch to the side. And the ship now is now at an angle where previously was horizontal plane. Now we're looking a little 10 degrees.
Xalia moves to fix it, counterbalance the weight. But she's not getting off the bottom of the ship.
right, you have. You have done this.
She's helping.
That may give your allies an additional time.
An additional 2 seconds.
They live like what? Maybe like 150, 140 pounds. She can probably change that actually.
Makayla would run to the door to the lower cabins and yell into it. My Lord X. Raven, the eagle is gone. It's safe to come out now.
Pastiche.
Do you need someone to pilot this ship?
Pastiche, you see this black bird just zoom through, and barrel lids go everywhere. What are you up to down here?
Pastiche was just kind of sitting off to the side, staying out of the way. But as this raven zooms in, and as Makayla calls down, they'll sort of get up, look around. Is everything alright up there?
Terror! Fright! Don't let them eat me!
Makayla, was that you?
Do you yell back? Yes. Is Raven down there? I need him to pilot the ship. I don't believe.
Pastiche is going to move towards the raven. Hold out a claw towards them.
Okay.
You'll be alright, friend.
Yeah, that's a persuasion roll. Dang! You see, hopping out from between some barrels, an orb of a bird, just feathers puffed out. Are they gone?
It seems so. And besides, if they're not, we're here to protect you.
They kind of like preen themselves and fluff back to regular raven stature. Yes. Yes, I suppose you're right. You're a conscripted part of the crew, after all. What are you doing out in here? Let's all get back to work. Then hops back up the stairs. Meanwhile, the ship has turned about 20 degrees. And the Raven pops back up here. And let's see here. Writes it. With his expert knowledge of air vehicles. Being a bird, of course. You have,
I am the inventor of the ship.
you have innate proficiency on air vehicles, if you're a bird.
No way. My next character's gonna be a bird.
You will get air.
Looks at Twig.
I highly recommend it. There's already a raven piloting the ship. My work here is done.
Twig, were you at the helm? Were you?
He was like approaching the helm, but we're good now.
Okay. All right. Crisis averted. Back to normal, I suppose.
Thanks.
Pastiche will, like, poke their head out from below deck as the Raven leaves. See that nothing seems to be immediately wrong. And duck back into their little corner.
Okay. Pastiche, down here, it's comfy. It's kind of like It's kind of like when you're inside. Oops, excuse me. It's kind of like you're like inside shelter, but it's like storming, thundering, raining outside. It's that kind of comfort.
Okay.
You can hear the winds whipping and flow against the sides of the Thopter as you hunker down below deck. You can hear the wood creaking as the ship sways to and fro, and there's a particularly like loud one as the Raven rights the ship back on course. You can hear the like springs and like you can hear springs of like clockwork mechanisms kind of clinking, clang. And of course you can hear Viravalge gulping down some form of inebriating liquid. And of course you can see portholes that let you view outside. Something flashes past one, actually. A little too quick for...
Does it hit Xalia in the tail?
Probably was Xalia on her way to curl up.
Yeah, she's going back to her spot now. She did her job. She single-handedly balanced this airship. Hello?
Hello.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I wasn't weird muted.
Yep. After a while, Viravalge goes back up above deck, and Pastiche, you are alone.
After a while, Xalia does Xalia of coming up the other side.
You scare the crap out of Viravalge. As you pop up from outside and just right your limbs and like bend them back, Viravalge lets out this blood-curdling scream of fright and confusion and startlement. Everyone hears this, and all heads turn towards the Dragonborn.
She kind of gives him a head tilt, and then just walks up, puts the hand on his shoulder, lets the fingers like sink down into his shoulder, like expand out over it, and then pats.
He like points at you. What did you? Breathing hard. Don't touch me! He grabs your wrist ? And throws it off of him, and he saunters off, grumbling, loudly complaining, and grabs a rope and just holds on to it, trying to make himself look busy.
Chuman was about to answer and then realized who it was. He just decided to just watch the entire thing.
I've had enough.
The goal is to get him drinking more.
He does take a swig.
Goal accomplished.
Is he holding like a bottle with him?
Yep.
Chuman just kind of watches him for a little bit. Then sees Xalia come. Now that she's back on board. Xalia, did you enjoy the undership? I believe you were.
He gives a thumbs up and nods enthusiastically.
Unconventional, but you always were for those type of more methods. At least you enjoyed yourself.
She continues to nod, and she kind of head tilts and offers her hand.
Are you asking me to go underneath the ship?
Kind of shrugs.
I prefer to stay on board. Thank you, though.
The hand retracts back to the elbow. She'll nod.
As is Twig walking like towards Virabel? Or
Yeah, I think he's slowly approaching.
okay. Chuma's gonna deflect.
Target located.
Chuma's gonna deflect. I'm sure Twig would enjoy a look of that. Ask him.
Hey, Twig.
Yes, a look of what?
Well, where Xalia enjoyed herself at. She wishes for someone else to enjoy it too.
I actually just saw a good friend of mine I have to say hi to. You can enjoy yourself, though, Xalia.
He'll nod and seem a little bit disappointed. Dang, all my friends are cowards.
Yeah, you're right, I am. What about it?
I mean, she blatantly does not say that out loud, but...
Yeah.
We can tell from the facial.
Uh-huh.
It's a look of judgment on both.
Twig backs away, takes a deep breath. Close one.
Maybe when we're closer to Darlas. I'll think about it, Thalia.
Kind of shrugs and goes downstairs to curl up.
Okay. Xalia walks downstairs below deck.
Love that
And-
noise.
Squelching on the way through.
Pastiche, you see a mass of Xalia enter below deck.
She's not really a mass right now. She's kind of stretched out, long.
Just long.
Xalia, greetings.
She'll smile and wave. Head tilt at Pastiche.
I just needed a moment or two. I have a lot on my mind, and, well, adding more clouds to the mix doesn't help.
She'll kind of nod appreciatively. Kind of go sit next to you, look over your shoulder, whatever you happen to be looking at.
How is everything up there? Everyone holding in? Holding on?
Come up. She will minor illusion a eagle, that relative like a ship and an eagle. She will minor illusion the ship tilting and then herself, single-handedly big muscle dragging it back. Proper orientation.
I see. Well, you always have been reliable.
She kind of beams a little bit.
Pastiche will just sort of look out one of the portholes and unfocused.
Xalia will minor illusion playing with clouds herself. She's not even looking at you, she's looking at a bunch of clouds she's making spin around and change colors and twist into weird shapes. She bats at them occasionally.
I think a
Eventually she'll...
I think a dragon shard just smashes into the portal.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
She'll jump, yeah.
Am I imagining things? Did you see that?
He will recreate it in Minor Illusion, but a little bit more cartoony, and just kind of nod.
That's slightly concerning. I think I'll head above deck, make sure there are no more shards raining down on us.
He'll nod, wave, ta-ta, 7 different fingers waving in patterns.
Pastiche opens the door and they arrive above deck. The
Twig,
wind
Makayla,
buffeting over your
Chuman.
scans.
Is everything
Take your
alright
head.
up here?
About as alright as can be.
Yes. I mean, there was that eagle that scared it away. Nothing really came of it. Clear your head.
Not entirely, but I am feeling a bit better.
That's good.
Despite Dragon Shard careening into one of the portholes below. There are no more shards raining down on us. Pastiche looks up, looks around. Are there?
Everybody give me a perception check. To spot some dragon shards.
Sorry, what?
Perception.
Doesn't seem like it.
It's a funny sound
So
effect
far,
for-
there are.
Dragon shards, what's that?
Damn, even Makayla's not rolling good on this one.
Dang. Alright.
That was awesome. Good job, team.
Congratulations. Would you like to use your birthday inspiration?
You know what? Yeah, let's look harder.
Alright. It seems alright, but then you decide to look harder. Yeah, there you go.
Have to wipe his eyes a little bit.
Yeah, so as the air flowing against you kind of like dries your eyes out, and you just kind of like wipe and blink a couple times with your cool snake double eyelids, I think, and refocus your attention. Or perhaps more importantly, go to the other side of the ship. Nothing on that side, so you check the other side. And indeed, there are a couple of dragon shards floating around. Some of them small, but some of them large. Definitely pointy. Some of them look like they could do some damage to your wooden air vessel. Let's see. Yeah, so they're just flying around, making Super Mario World cape noises. What'd you get? 16? A 16 also. At this leg of the journey, it's been a couple hours now. You've passed over many towns and cities below you, but above you, another landmass. You're floating, gliding, really. You're gliding near another landmass where it looks like it has a town or city on top of it. There are many houses or other living accommodations constructed on it. There is a kind of large little pillar arcing over the western portion of it. You can see many different... it's huge and you're relatively close. So you can see many different symbols carved into this large kind of like crescent looking pillar. They appear to be eyes. Just carved into this rock pillar. There is a waterfall cascading down from the place.
Sounds like Xalia's homeland.
So this is like another, floating.
Yeah,
Location?
there's always floating locations, but yeah, this is definitely another one. Definitely unique. You might be able to, let's see, time passes, you can see some people walking around.
Well, there certainly are more shards in the sky, but I wouldn't say they're raining, thankfully. Just floating through the area. Raven, Pastiche will call to the captain.
Yes?
Do you mind the dragon shards in the area?
Indeed. Stunt observation will... the prototype of the Thopter is not quite maneuverable, but if I see them ahead far enough away, then we can certainly avoid them. If one of them suddenly comes into view and we can't avoid it, we might need to destroy it before we get there. Or move it with some form of kinetic force. Yes, Cindy.
I'm sure I'll figure something out. You know, we must be quite a sight for anyone else looking out into the sky right now. A ship. I wonder what they think.
Truly. Dare I say this is the first time that anyone would have seen such a sight. With all the floating islands about. But now, we have a vessel capable of traversing the sky. Most excellent. Yes, yes. Oh.
Yes, yes, indeed.
The waterfall with the previously mentioned floating city or town or village or whatever. It catches the Khorzaire sun in such a manner that as the water drops fall down from the sky into the huge gorge or into this... no, you guys are past that now. Just onto the ground. Ostensibly, there is some place in Khorzaire where if you stand, you'll just get pelted by water. You're not sure. But as this waterfall drops down, the Khorzaire sun catches in a way that, of course, there's a lovely rainbow.
Happy Pride.
It's just a place where it's constantly raining. Like, they don't know why there's always rain there.
Could be. Let's see. The DM rolls something menacingly.
Huh.
That's a
I
bit
rolled
menacing.
Roll a 20 on that menacing roll.
Yeah. The intimidation.
Or max roll.
You guys up to anything?
And back stretching into the wall and just biding her time in the below decks.
I think Chuman is back to meditating for now.
Makayla.
I think you might have cut out on that.
She's just vibing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Twig is approaching Viravalge.
Your Honor, Vera Valge, death.
Alright. He is currently imbibing, so he does not notice your approach. Yeah.
Twig's gonna like sneak up behind him and like slap him on the back. Like, Viravalge, my friend, did you need any help with any of the work? Is there anything I could do for you?
He jolts when he's slapping. No. I don't. I never need any help from you. Go on, go. You're a bird.
Yeah.
Why are you even on this thing anyway? Every time you show up, something bad happens. To me.
At the why are you even on here? I mentioned Twig looks up at his talons and looks a little sad for a second. Never mind that. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. I can promise you, nothing bad is going to happen on this trip. Things are going to go perfectly fine, and we'll make it to our destination, and things will be great.
We already drove off that big eagle, right?
Exactly.
What more could you even think about going bad than just a big eagle?
What do you mean exactly? You didn't say anything before that. I didn't say anything to you.
I was just thinking about that big eagle we drove off. Oh wait. You were below deck for that, weren't you? Well, we drove off a big eagle.
There's like a smoldering, almost fiery kind of snort, just a harumph. There's just little bits of dragonborn flame coming out of his nostrils. Always trouble. If I don't see you again, it'll be too soon.
Twig, exaggerating, puts a hand over his heart. That hurts, my friend.
Make that persuasion roll.
I was really hoping for either a 20 or a 1.
He said he was gonna roll a 20.
Twice.
Twice?
Yeah.
Another persuasion.
Another one, please. Sorry.
Okay.
Not a disadvantage. Just roll it twice. Okay. Okay. Viravouch, this burly dragonborn who has this kind of working man stature, definitely has a little bit of a beer gut because that's all the dude consumes. It's his entire sustenance.
Subsists on beer.
You've caught him in the middle of adjusting, adjusting a couple of ropes. So some of the rigging has gotten torn during the flight, and he's replacing it. And he finishes up, pulls the bottle, and then takes a swig, puts it back, who knows where. Then he drops the rope, looks at you. Why are you trying to be friendly to me? Why are you talking to me?
Can't I talk with the other passengers here? I mean, we have a history, but we're all on the same
Don't
boat
say it.
ship.
Listen, if you're trying to get on my good side or something, it's going to take a lot more than not threatening me and just saying pleasant words this time.
Well, I thought I would try not threatening you for a change.
And that might be a good idea. Listen, I'm working. I'm trying to get a new job where I'm not harassed by a group of adventurers every other day.
adventurer derogatory.
Yeah, it seems like he was about to say something else. Then I'll leave you to it. You're clearly hard at work.
That's right. If you're serious about burying the hatchet, then buy me a drink or something, or pay me. I don't know. I haven't had a friend in a long time. I don't know what they do anymore.
Aw. I just might take you up on that when we land.
Another, like, flaming snort. Whatever.
Speaking of which, does it look like we're like getting any closer to the like to any landmarks that we saw earlier?
Let's see. You've passed over the Laughing Gorge. It's mostly just sand now. You've passed the waterfall town on top of the thing. You've passed the castle. Plenty of ruins.
We passed the castle.
You've, or rather, it's no longer in sight. I mean, you didn't directly pass it. As you look over the battle, give me a perception check. Give me a spot the landmark roll.
I'm gonna spot this landmark so hard.
It's pretty good. As you peer over the railing, after giving Viraval just space, you can know you're no longer downwind of him. Sorry, you are downwind of him, so you can just smell alcohol on the wind. As you peer over the railing, indeed, you are able to spot not anything extraordinary in the sky, but you do spot a city on the ground in the sands with many large buildings on the horizon where the blue meets the yellow. And it looks like you may be coming up on your destination, the city of Zozo. Let's see, with the 25, you also managed to spot, even though, like, out of the corner of your eye, like your peripheral vision, like, triggers. Well, not really triggers, like, you can see in your peripheral vision, you can see one of the crew
Peripheral
members.
vision, skill trigger.
You can see in your peripheral vision, one of the crew members kind of dust their hands against their clothing and lean over the railing, and looks like they're attempting to talk to Chuman. Chuman, you hear in a quiet voice someone hailing you. It is it's coming from above you, and they say, "Hey, boss, Chuman. Hey, wake up, Chuman. Hey."
Chuman hears his name being called after a couple of times, and he just opens his eyes and looks around at first.
Up here.
Who's? Yes. Did you need something?
Gives you like the up nod. Hey, I heard you guys were belonging to a group of cool adventurers. Can I have a word with you about adventuring?
Sure. Why not? Chuman heads up the steps.
What's it like?
Well, there's a lot to explain with it. It's not one single thing about adventuring, it's many that comes about it. You have a lot of uncertainties that comes about on a day-to-day. But it is fairly enjoyable experience, so long as you can protect yourself.
Well, I know a thing or two about protecting myself. Listen, in your days of adventuring, do you ever get your hands on any, like, crazy magical items, or, like, super secret goods, or stolen contraband, or anything like that? And he gives you a wink.
Chuman kind of looks up into the sky as he thinks.
Stuff that come from other empires.
Yes, to some extent. Although recently it hasn't been too many things that would fit your description.
Could you tell me about them? If this whole flying ship thing don't work out, I was thinking about becoming an adventurer. If it's too secret stuff, could I have a word with you down below deck? He winks at you again. He gives you a thumbs up.
Yeah, sure, why not? Then we could speak more down below.
Great. He gives a nod to the person over on the starboard side of the ship. Hey, Zegrith, I'm taking a break. I'll be right back. You guys, and Twig, you see this Triton lead Chuman downstairs below deck. Just they go below the deck. Whoops, I pulled you guys off the ship.
No, Chuman!
Alright, you're back.
The vacuum of space. No.
Let's go have a discussion. Comes off the ship.
Comes off the ship. Follow me, Chuman.
This is the only place that's private. Off the ship.
Uh-huh.
Alright. So this Triton leads you down below deck and into like a little hallway into a little private room. There's a couple desks. One on the eastern side and one on the western side. There's a couple like chairs around and like little parchment and everything. And he looks around, closes the door. All right. Sorry about that. Can you tell me about all the cool secret stuff you found?
Well, I can't tell you about everything. Although I could tell you at least some of the adventures that we had. We have at least been adventuring certain underground areas. Forgive me, I forgive the name of the person that we were working for, but we ended up finding a lot about the old civilization here in Khorzaire. A lot about the history for it, and not only that, perhaps as you would expect, but also a lot of treasures as well. Plenty of coins for anyone to not necessarily be rich, but to be well off.
Well, I guess I ain't interested in coin much. I could, if I were, I would just keep this job here in the Thopter. I guess what I'm after is, what I'm interested in is coin shaped. Listen, I'll just cut to the chase. Boss Champagne wants to know where that talisman is, and we figure you know where it is. So, if you got it, cough it up. If you ain't, tell us where. It needs to go back to tunnels.
Talisman? Who are you referring to?
Are you...
Chuman.
I need a...
Chuman is acting completely oblivious to it.
I need a deception roll.
Uh-oh.
All right, congratulations.
Use
On
the
your
inspiration.
natural one. All right.
Don't worry, it's the min max.
Okay. This is gonna be the 20 then.
Okay. All right. The Triton before you, he kind of like drops his smile. He looks a little serious. Now, come on, man. Don't play dumb with me. I got. Do we really have to go through this whole rigmarole? I got orders direct from Boss Champagne that you not only know where the talisman is, but we've since figured out that you've been moving it across the whole country, the whole continent. Cough it up. We're bringing it back home. maybe you can get out of all. Maybe you can come on back home too.
Chuman's face drops. What are you talking about? Who is this boss you were referring to?
Champagne. I done said it a couple times.
Chuman thinks for a moment.
The purple tiefling, if you're not trying to.
No, I did.
Okay.
Once again, he's meddling in my own personal matters. First off, I am not returning. Second, Talisman is dealing with other issues. So I'm afraid that you're going to have to tell him, your boss, Champagne, he needs to leave me alone.
Well, ain't you a little homesick? Head on out. Don't have to be in this awful desert. I tell you what, I'm burning up constantly. It's drying out my scales.
I can't say that I am not homesick a little, but I've made my choice when I left. I have to see it through all the way. You know the rules. Back at the Empire.
Well, I'm afraid I'm hired help, so no, I don't know the rules. I do know what I've been conscripted to do, though. I was afraid you'd say that.
Well, then I assume that you don't remember what it means for someone to have either be considered desertion, traitor.
Nope, not at all. He's
Unfortunate.
I need initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Dang, 2 natural 20s in a row from Khorzaire? Alright. Let's see. So, what happens is the Triton, who now no longer having the wind above deck, wicking away at his body. You can see him kind of like water dripping from his face. It looks like he's sweating, or like kind of like a nervous sweat or something like that. Well, if you didn't want to come along or tell us where it was or anything, I got backup orders, and that's to bring you back to Champagne. Come on. He's going to grapple you. So I need you to roll acrobat. I need you to roll acrobatics or athletics for you to beat his third natural 20.
You haven't seen Chuman's roll yet. Watch this.
God, 3 in a row. This guy's unstoppable.
I'm giving you all of my luck.
This guy is feeling himself harder than anyone's ever felt themselves before.
He really is.
Wait, the athletics.
Yeah, he's attempting to grapple you, and you can roll either athletics or acrobatics to contest his athletics check.
Right. I was looking. I don't know if my athletics is enough. It's a +5, but I don't know if it would be enough even with the.
What about your acrobatics?
Yeah, it's a. You have to meet or beat a 26. All right. Unfortunate.
Yeah, it wasn't enough anyway.
Okay.
So.
He is grappling you. So like he like grabs. He like grabs your chest and twists your muffler and your armor into like a like a like a bully grab. So he's like holding you up holding you close to him. You can see his biceps kind of tense up, and he pulls out with his other hand a piece of parchment, and he gives it a flick with his wrist, and it unrolls, and you can see him start reading and chanting in some kind of like unknown language, and things get real sparkly real quick. Come on now, this will only take a few seconds, and we'll be back in Tratos. And the music changes.
I was gonna say, even though I'm grappled, can I still like try and move to push him?
Grappling reduces your speed to 0, so you cannot move until you break the grapple first.
Okay.
Let's see. So that was his action. That's his turn. So he pulls out a parchment. He appears to be reading from it and like chanting some kind of spell, as magic kind of like sparkles and coalesces around the both of you.
Right. Just to make sure of my options, when I'm grappled, I can't do spells and things like that.
No, you can't. Just the only thing that changes when you are grappled is your speed becomes 0.
Okay.
Until you break the grapple. You can use an action to get out of the grapple by just using an action, and you can roll athletics or acrobatics, and he has to roll again.
Okay.
It's a contest. But other than that, everything is normal. That ends his turn. Chuman, something weird's happening. He's saying he's acting real confident. He's definitely feeling himself. Like he feels like he has the upper hand. He's got you closed off in a he's got you closeted away in a room all by yourself, and he's got you in his grasp. What would you like to do?
Okay, just to make sure, because I'm about to do it, but I want to make sure. I can still use a spell.
Yes.
Alright. Chuman, quite agitated, and he's gonna, while he's kind of like grabbing his arm to act as if he's about to break away. I hope you know what you're getting into. You might not make it back to Boss Champagne if you keep messing with me. But if you can walk out of here, and Chuman then kind of uses his hand as even though he's grappled to close it and use hold person.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Let's see what happens. Oh no!
Jesus!
my man has taken all of your min-max. He's
too powerful.
Alright, Chuman, so you close.
Are you sure you're pressing roll 1d20 and not roll 120?
I'm pretty sure. I'm just clicking to the character sheet. So as you close your hand, and as you're chanting the verbal thing to stop this person in their tracks, the magic kind of goes around. He just kind of like sweats it off. Like there's a burst of like perspiration. Then he just looks around. The less you struggle would be best. He appears to be on your level, Chuman. And by golly, he is getting cockier by the minute. Sorry, by the moment. What else you got?
I believe that's the only thing that should.
Okay. You got your bonus action. You can do whatever you want. This is role playing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Oh wait, it takes an action to attempt breaking a grapple, right? So,
Correct.
Yeah, I don't know it. I mean, I guess it's bonus action if I could do it. Then like Chuman would just kind of yell, but
Yeah, sure. You can do that. give me a yell, but not a real yell, you know?
yeah. Chuman kind of in as loud as he can, and in the most like angry, in an angry emotion, gets off of me.
Okay.
That's kind of it.
Let's see here. Give me a Constitution check. Just straight Constitution. See how loud this is. Xalia, you hear a very stern "get off of me" coming from the room. 17, probably whoever's closest to the below deck doors will also hear kind of like muffled yelling, but not precisely what it is. Which means, Xalia, if you like, you can enter the combat.
Yeah, her head will snap up at hearing this, and she'll kind of slither over to at the room off to the side of below decks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, she will slither over here and open up the door.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me in. Yeah, there you go. Thank you very much. And you see, the sight you see is a somewhat intimate setting. This Triton is this blue, kind of like seaweed color hair is grabbing Chuman, has him by the scruff of his clothing, and he's got a glowing parchment open, and there's some magic in the air.
You're gonna mage hand the parchment right out of his hands.
Sure.
Like it's not even like a grab it out of his hand, it's just punch the paper.
Okay.
With 10 pounds of force.
Okay. Yeah, sure. That's fun. He's holding on to it pretty pretty tightly, so I think he just rips his paper.
Mm-hmm.
There's like sound, and you can see this Triton look up. What? Occupy!
She kind of waves, looks at Chuman, head tilts.
It won't be for long. Better stop where you're at now, or else the rest of my adventurers can't help you take a better break than what you are doing now.
Alright. Let's see. Anything else, Alien?
She's trying to get a read on what actually was going on with Chuman, but like the Chuman situation, like how he feels about it right now. But she's like, okay, I resolved it. What next?
Alright.
Yeah, Chuman's overall, he's just pissed off and trying to like get away.
Yeah, Chuman's making an angry face, and the Triton is kind of like he's got kind of like a confident smirk.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
Okay.
So we're gonna roll back around. To the
She'll probably just make a face at him, like a bleh face, you know. But Xalia specialized, so you know there's teeth coming out of her gums, pointing directly at him.
Alright. Let's see, we're gonna roll back around to the round 2. Yeah, so the people above deck, you guys can hear this, but you're not sure what's going on. There seems to be some sort of commotion. If you're interested, you can put yourself in the initiative order. But the Triton is gonna go, and then he's just gonna look at Xalia and say, "Occupy!" And he reaches over and closes the door. And still holding on to Chuman, he's going to pull a pouch open, and he's going to grab a vial out of it. It's this glittering liquid. He's going to shake it a couple times and toss it on the ground. It cracks open, and let me tell you, something strange happens. There is, first off, a smoke cloud. And what comes out of the smoke cloud are... how do I describe this? I guess I'll just say it outright. There's a lot of rats.
Vial of Summon Rats 5.
It's not a joke. You are now surrounded in rats.
Okay.
And Triton says, "Just ripped it. That costed so much money. Stay out of this, you. Stay on the other side of that door. You think that was the only one I had to? Come on, Chuman, we're going home." He pulls out another one. Kolzos always has a backup plan. Alright, the rats go on initiative. Boop. Oh, they go
the
rats. Alright. Pastiche.
Pastiche, hearing the commotion, is going to try to open the door below decks.
Sure, it opens.
Peek in.
You'll
just
see
yell.
Xalia standing at the end of the hallway with the most fucked up face in the world, but just kind of looking. She's not even like looking angry about it. She's just like staring at a closed door. It's like this horrible, like teeth beast.
Oh man.
Chuman, is everything alright down there?
Bailey will just kind of point at the door and shake her head.
I was gonna say, can I technically hear it considering the commotion? Or no?
Sure. Yeah, you can hear it.
It could be better. Pastiche. Your assistance be grateful. Hand me.
Pastiche is going to just take a brief moment to assess the situation, realize this Chuman is being grappled. Point his way. Get out of there.
Oh, you are...
And an inky hole.
Oh,
You're over here. You currently cannot see Chuman.
Oh, okay.
Because you can see Xalia. She's looking at a closed door, and what is inside this this room that the door is closed in?
I see.
Yeah, out of line of sight. It'll take you about probably 15 feet worth of movement to get below deck.
Sure. Is something going on in there?
Xalia will nod.
Yeah, you just hear kind of scuffling going on.
Yeah, there is definitely some scuffle noises. Barrels falling over, chairs getting kicked over. Lots of squeaking. Like mouse squeaking. It's confusing to hear. What has Xalia done?
Is it my fault this time?
Okay. I think Pastiche is going to dash into the hall and just kind of bash on the doorway.
Okay. Bam, 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 bam. You add to the cacophony. Dash is an action, so unfortunately you cannot attack the door. Alright. You hear Chuman noises and like haughty chortles that are not Chuman. Lots of mouse squeaking. Why is there so many squeaks? And like shuffling of furniture, all that kind of stuff. And also bang 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 bang. Which brings us to Chuman. You know why there's so much squeaking. There are this entire room is kind of filled with rats now. You haven't like there's rats on you, over you, on the desk. You see a couple rats just like playing poker with each other or something. I don't know, dude. They're everywhere. This Triton sweating has produced another parchment and is preparing to read from it and cast some kind of spell. You're not sure.
Human, if you have Mage Hand, you can do the funniest thing in the world.
Yeah, Chuman's gonna try and break the grapple this time.
Sure.
Is it?
You can
It's
roll
between acrobatics and athletics, or
either
straight?
acrobatics or athletics, your choice. The grappler has to do athletics.
Okay.
You need to beat an 8 this time. Hey, you're free.
There you go.
You break the grapple. You are no longer you are no longer handed. You have been unhanded.
You are no longer subject to the whims of the grappler.
You twist your arm like around his forearm and catch it in the elbow and wing his hand away.
I'm unable to move due to the rats like all over the place, correct?
There's lots of rats. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I was wondering how would that work in terms of like.
you can move, but it's definitely difficult terrain.
Okay.
Maybe dangerous terrain. Like this man had like used a rat potion. What in the world happened?
Potion of rat, filter of rats.
You're,
Common magical item.
like legit, you're surrounded and covered in rats. And or mice.
We don't discriminate here.
Yeah. You know what? We're actually in the desert. They're kangaroo rats.
They're kanga rice.
Yeah, Chuman's gonna try and like. If he can't really step over the rats, so he's gonna try and just like dive through the door.
Okay. You can't really step over the rats, but you can attempt to dive through the door.
Yeah, he's just gonna try and dive through the door, so whether it breaks down or not, doesn't care.
Okay, I need a strength check.
Okay.
The door is locked. you.
Wait, how did it go from being open to being locked?
He closed it on his turn.
And locked it?
Little flick.
Okay. Little flicky.
Actually,
I was
no,
gonna say,
that
'cause
would be an
Chuma's-
action.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Chuman's putting all his force into it too.
In action, he didn't have the action to lock it. You're right. Let's see here. Let's see. A 16 is enough to dive through an unlocked door. In that case, you collide with Pastiche. As you dive through the door, there like a spilling of rats and mice and like kangaroo, like various desert rodents pouring out of the thing, and also a now flustered countenance Triton. You're kind of here. Yeah, there you go. What else you got? That was your action to dive through the door.
Oh, it's an action. Well, wait, I used the action to break the grapple, so then technically.
Oh, okay. No, you're fine then. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
We're having fun.
I don't think what Chuman would actually say here. Actually, I don't think Chuman would say anything. It's like outside of hitting the door and then colliding into Pastiche, so he's just grunting from the impacts. That's it for him.
Okay, brings us to Makayla.
Yeah, hearing all this commotion, yelling, being, Makayla would head down. See what's going on below deck.
Okay.
What's
Say,
poppin'?
what is happening down there?
By the way, am I considered prone or anything?
Nah.
Oh shit.
Okay. Makayla, you walk down and you see, like, at the same time, you see Chuman burst out of a room. Many rats spilling out of a room, collide with Pastiche, and also Xalia's there.
In the rat city.
Xalia has the face of a bloodborne monster.
The least confusing thing here. What is happening?
Trouble, it seems.
Alright. So it took my movement to get down here.
About 15 feet. Yeah. Well, 20 because you have a little bit more.
It seems that they're coming to take me back home again.
Oh, we can't have that now, can we? Can I see into the room or no?
It'd be pretty difficult.
Okay.
Okay, come my turn, I have the funniest thing known to man to do here.
I mean, you can see rats.
I can't see rats.
Your Honor.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they're spilling out, so you can see rats.
Yeah, they're just kind of like a tide of rats.
A vermintide, if you will.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
you're familiar with that many rats.
Yep.
I mean, I'll bless it. Dash to move a little closer so I can actually see what's happening. And my turn.
Xalia.
Hello. Hello, AoE bunch of creatures.
Greetings.
Oh no.
Okay. Let's see. Rat?
No.
Golzos. Let's see. Each
That does
creature-
make it.
Okay. This hits Chuman too, right?
No, not the way it's angled.
Okay. Just kind of like go over him, perhaps. Alright, that's everyone then. So all of the rats are terrified. Golzos, unfortunately, saves.
Okay. She's gonna walk in after this and go just kind of stand in this guy's face with a bloodborne face and just kind of go like menacingly, just stand there with the rats cowering from her.
Roll me intimidation.
Alright.
Oh my goodness, you break his concentration. He was reciting a spell, like he was taunting and reciting a spell, like taking times like in between the lines of incantation, just to like taunt at Chuman. It's like, I don't need to have a hold of you in order to transport you properly. Stay here. Oh my goodness, what is this?
It is a creature, a foul beastie.
Where did you... this creature, this foul beastie, where have you come from?
He's not gonna fucking say.
Alright, Twig.
Hey, you wanted to deal with adventure?
I think Twig's gonna go below decks and see what's going on. Was Twig privy to that conversation between Kozos and Zegrith?
You rolled really high in a perception, so yeah.
Okay. Well, this is a scene.
Yep.
Just your average everyday rat
Incident.
infestation.
So many rats.
Your Honor, rats, death.
Uh-huh. Hold on, how much movement do I have? It seems pretty cramped in there.
Yep.
A bit.
Could I squeeze my way in here?
The rats are all cowering from Xalia, though, to be fair.
Oh,
Just
they,
peek.
the rats like are all focused on Xalia, and they've got their rears kind of up in the air. They look like they're about to bolt.
Twig like peeks his head around the corner. Chuman, do you know this guy?
I don't know him personally. That's the best answer I could give you.
Is he, you know... Twig makes like a stabbing motion. Is he trying to kill you?
No, rather, he's trying to send me back home.
LGBTQK.
Is he, you know, murderous?
The Triton pipes up as you're talking to Chuman. No, I would never harm the prince. I'm merely trying to send a traitor back home.
Keep it down over there.
Xalia kind of nips at him.
Ah!
Maybe we should just leave him with the rats.
Well, the rats are his.
Oh. I see.
Anything, just put him to sleep.
Did you think they were Xalia's?
I think they just lived here.
All in this one room.
That's a lot of rats.
You have to live somewhere. Twig had to dash to get this far, so I think that would be the extent of his turn.
Okay. Let's see. In unison, the rats. Something I didn't make clear earlier: the portholes are not glass covered; they're actually just circular openings in the vessel. So the rats have to use their action to dash away.
Oh no!
And they all hurtle out of the porthole.
No!
They all are extremely terrified. Massive squeaking, cheep, 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 and they're all just gone.
Goodbye.
All of them fly out of the porthole.
Goodbye, rats.
There is now a cascade of kangaroo rats somewhere over Khorzaire.
Someone is about to have a really weird day.
About to?
When those rats land.
Kolzos, seeing that there's more company, kind of like curses under his breath. Alright. I know what I'm not wanted. See you another time, traitor. Boss Champagne ain't gonna rest until we know where that talisman is. Goodbye, everybody. See you next time.
See you.
See ya, space cowboy.
And Kolzos also jumps out of the portal.
Oh.
Yep, goodbye.
What if?
Seems that champagne is stopping nothing to get towards me.
That's the end of the altercation. And we're back to sorry, and we're back to adventure.
I appreciate the help, everyone. I let my guard down for at least a moment. And little I know. Damn
Xalia.
tiefling set something up again.
Xalia, the bloodborne beast, is going to go over and pat you on the shoulder.
Aww. It seems like these friends of yours are everywhere.
I wouldn't call them friends per se. I had mentioned before I was a prince back in my empire. I left over a decade ago. Seems that they
How
want
could they
the...
possibly known that you were on this ship of all places?
Well,
We didn't even know we were going to be here until yesterday.
we haven't exactly been keeping a low profile, I guess.
Right.
Suppose not.
Besides, you remember the tiefling back when we first found the sword, right? One that nearly had all of you attacked by the guards. Chuman's asking this to everyone.
Xalia is going to earnestly shake her head no.
Sorry, what did you ask? I cut out.
He was asking if you remember the blue tiefling back when we first found sword.
Purple, but yeah.
Yeah, purple.
Oh,
Yes. Champagne was his name. Seems that he wants both the talisman and me to return. Somehow he found out that our party has moved the talisman.
well. I don't think Lady Zazra will... Kind of like hushes a little bit when she says that. Lady Zazra will give it...
Exactly. I didn't tell them anything, so they still don't know. But seems I'm gonna have to be a little more discreet about my movements.
Unfortunately, we're not exactly the most discreet party.
What do you mean? How could we possibly be more discreet? I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Xalia is still like bloodborne beast when she says this, right?
Again, Xalia is mute. Anything I say is out of character.
Or like, yeah, but she's
Yeah.
still bloodborne beast when
Yeah.
Chuman says it.
Yes.
Mhm.
All I'm saying is... we attract a lot of attention. Willingly or...
Right. Anyways, now that is over, let's get above the test being here right now. Chuman gets up, starts walking over back to above the ship.
Twig will get Chuman's attention. I'm sorry for eavesdropping, but that other worker up on the deck, Zegrith, I think his name was. Do you think he might be a problem as well?
He and I haven't spoke. I'm not sure, but I don't intend to talk to anyone else until our flight is over.
In any case, just be careful around him.
Will do. Chuman walks up, heads back up. Still visibly frustrated.
Hangy.
Before you go, Makayla would stop you and ask, would there be any way to simply to your home and explain to people what is happening and why you do not wish to return, so they would stop sending more people to try and retrieve you by force?
No. After all, I am the Prince of Moltus. They intend to have me back at whatever cost. At the same time, I made a choice to leave in order to find out more about this mark that is on my shoulder. The information is highly confidential, even among royalty. I don't even know the full extent of it. And at the same time, since I have been gone for so long, I'm sure that many of them would consider that I'm either a heretic or a traitor in some form. I've already at least accepted whatever punishment I'll probably have if I return. But I do not intend to return until I fully find out what this mark is history is about.
Well, when you left, did you explain that to people?
Not at all. Why would I? If anything, it would have made escaping from Tumultus much harder. I was able to avoid them for at least 10 years, but that was because I was underground.
All I'm getting at is, well, fully understandable. You might be assuming the worst. But they would listen at all to you and what you'd have to say, then I suppose this can be done about it.
I appreciate it. Yes. I know personally that they'll stop at nothing to bring me back. Considering that this is probably their first lead after this so long, so I'm sure that many are eager to finally bring me back in. opening up communications right now would not be in my best interest.
Well, I suppose just keep an open mind. You never know. You know your home better than anyone else here, so.
Right.
I would know any better.
I appreciate it nonetheless. You'll excuse me. I'm gonna head back up to get out of this dull area for right now. Chuman then heads up. Kind of just leans on the side, looking out over the deck.
A bit of adrenaline causes your body heat to rise down there. The wind is very refreshing as it moves over your skin, cooling you down.
I guess while he's out here now, he's probably going to at least take a look at the rest of the crew that's on board.
Okay.
Just to see if it's anyone that seems unfamiliar or, like, out of place.
Okay. Make a perception or an insight, depending on what you're after.
What was the difference between them again?
Perception is looking at them and seeing, confirming details with your eyes, smell, or other sights or other senses. Just basically like seeing what they look like. And then insight is trying to get information on their motives or like how they're feeling or what their intentions. Things look good. Except for Viruvel. Even with a 7, Viruvel is obviously not working. He's doing his hardest to look like he's busy, but the man is wobbling on his feet.
Oh boy.
He's sloshed.
Once this Chuman kind of looks at Viruvel, he sighs to himself and then he kind of takes a little bit of time to just relax, to get the adrenaline back under control.
Okay. The crew looks like they're busy and focused on their tasks. They do seem to be a motley crew, not unlike yours. There's a bugbear, a dragonborn, a cat person, a human, and like a boar person, and also there is a raven flying the ship. A motley crew, to be sure.
I'd expect it.
Let's see. The congregation downstairs, as you're making your way up, you can hear the cling and clang of a bell ring from the deck above, just in a measured meter, suggesting no alarm, but perhaps calling an assembly. And then, naturally, Chuman, you hear it clear as day as well.
Guess we'll head on deck.
Okay.
See what's happening.
I think outside of just like looking at whatever noises happen along the way, Chuman just kind of stays along the wall. Stays to himself.
Okay. Let's see. The Raven addresses everybody. What ho, everyone! Soon, we will be at our destination, back home in Zozo. Simply wanted to alert everyone that the time is soon. The time is nigh, I think is the proper phrase. His flaps testing his wings. I suppose I dare say and assume that none of you have ever been to Zozo before. Is that so?
I don't believe I have.
I mean, not in an average amount of time, no.
Right.
Not what anyone would consider really reasonable. I might have been there a few hundred years ago, but I assume it's a very different place.
I dare say this policy was not in place 100 years ago, but certainly now. Visitors are free to come and go as they enter Zozo in any university to look and spectate and attend any of the open classes we have. However, if you're going to spend any amount of time properly in Zozo, or if you want to access any of the libraries or any further knowledge, you must have a library card. Library card will need to be approved by the Merchant King. So you'll definitely want to make sure, if your intention is to stay there for any amount of time, ostensibly until we build another one of these vessels and get it back over to Blid. A library card is some easily explained as an identification card. It means that you are here to learn in Zozo. It states your name and all that sort of thing, and also it states what sort of unique spells you have created and put out into the betterness of everyone.
You said we would need to get approval from the Merchant King?
That is so.
Well, it's good. We have business with them, so we'll be seeing him regardless.
Xalia's eyes are like glittering, literally.
This is one of the arduous tasks. I hear that they have been put on hold for registrants while they attended business elsewhere, but I suppose you can just simply seek an audience and implore them. If you already have business, then perhaps they will listen to you. Special. Doesn't it feel good to be special? The bird, like, clacks their beak that holds a little trinket. It's literally a bird that's talking. So
Xalia nods enthusiastically.
Were you a student of Zozo Academy?
You could say that. And I have since graduated after a fashion. Where he kind of like points his beak up and being proud. Many a spell I have contributed to the goodness and betterment of Khorzaire itself. I often get hailed and get contracted into busyness and public works projects from the Sparkas, who also have a building in Zozo as well. Once word gets back that once word gets around that the glorious Raven has returned, I imagine you'll see me flitting about non-stop.
Well, I'm sure you'll have much to gloat about. Gestures at the ship.
Yes. Yes, indeed. An amazing invention. Flight for everyone! The bird spreads its wings. In fact, that is one of the core fundamentals of Zozo. Anyone is worthy of knowledge, if you simply have a means to achieve it. Might seem counterintuitive that we lock certain knowledge behind a library card, but it exists as a representation of the proof that you are determined to seek it. That's all.
I see.
We hand them out like candy.
Well, as we're approaching how land or dock.
Well, what do you mean?
Yes.
The bird asks, what do you mean?
Oh. Like... Where will you land the ship?
In Zozo.
Yes, but were they alerted of our arrival, of the ship's arrival?
No, I thought
And
it
you're
best.
prepared
I thought it best to be a surprise.
We're gonna get shot down.
So
And
Just-
how do you intend to land?
Well, how does any bird land? You simply spread your wings and flap against the air to produce resistance, and then slowly slow down and hop and use your legs.
Does this ship have deployable legs?
No, of course
To
not. It's
land
a
on?
wooden vessel. Why would we have deployable legs? I'll certainly remember that for next time, though. I think that would be better. More bird-like.
Surely not like the landing for this.
I'm sure you know what you're doing, Raven.
Yes, I've been flying ever since I was born. I'm an excellent flyer. You've seen me do it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think in the middle of this, Chuman walks over to Twig. Twig, seems that the landing might be a little rough.
Yes, I've gathered from what I've heard. I'm sure it won't be too bad. I mean, it can't be. I promised Viravaj it wouldn't be. Nothing would go wrong.
I hope you're right.
Back on the subject of the academy, do you know if it requires any to go up onto their rooftop?
I'm sorry, you cut out. What was your question?
Back to the Raven. Sorry, what?
You cut out. I couldn't hear you.
On the topic of the academy, do you know if there was any sort of special permission we would have to get to go onto their rooftop?
I suppose not. Not beyond merely having a library card. Rooftops are
No.
reserved for students. They use it as a sort of break time.
Huh. Anyone could go up there. Or staff.
Yes. If you wanted to.
see kind of Kayla's face get a little like necessarily the super happy about that information.
My reaction to that information.
Why do you ask? Does that trouble you? Why should we restrict the lovely outside air of Khorzaire?
Oh no.
What would lose? I suppose.
Discord died.
I'm back. Just be dangerous. That's all.
True. Perhaps we should build some sort of railing or fence to prevent people from falling off. Oh, but most of the roofs are round and not flat. Not all of them, anyway. Some of them. The ones that are flat, we should build a railing. You're right, Makayla! Splendid idea! That might earn you a library card right out.
Earn it, huh? Okay.
Are you with the Sparkers? I dare say you might have... a knack for public works projects.
Oh. No. Not. I don't quite have the mind of for the Sparkers. Often a little bit much. Well, how soon until
Out of character, does anyone else have anything they would like to do aboard the airship?
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay. Then back in character, the Raven answers you, right about now. Have a look-see! And points his beak towards the the front of the ship. The stern? No, not the stern. Stern's the back. The bow? The prow? And you can see the lovely university city of Zozo. There are many large buildings, and also many small buildings. Looks like people live here in their own homes, just congregate around and also study here as well. You are descending lower. You can see the people just kind of milling around. Everyone stops to look up as the shadow that your vessel casts onto the sandy streets below. You are descending. Raven's fiddling with the steering wheel, the helm, as it were. There doesn't seem, as you're getting lower and lower, cruising toward the city, there is something of a convenient street where it is open that your ship is passing or on course to go into, but there's no landing gear going anywhere. You haven't heard any like preparation noises. As you look around, you only see the crew members just kind of like grit their teeth and hold on to something tight. You can see like a couple wrapping their arms around the ropes. The Raven barks out, "Descend! Begin landing operation!"
Twig's gonna wrap himself around Chuman.
Bailey's gonna cast fly and fuck off.
Chuman's
Your
gonna,
issue now.
Chuman's gonna wrap a lasso around like the railing.
Pastiche is going to follow the crew's example and just hold on to something.
the Thopter descends. Just it buffets. The ship kind of creaks as you get closer to University. You realize just quite how fast you were going. It took you just a few hours to traverse a very large span of the Khorzaire desert, and unfortunately, this is not a slow descent. You are plummeting towards the ground. Very quickly you descend into the streets. There's people now seeing the speed of this vessel coming on, and they scream and get out of the way. And arms raised.
Maybe you all are descending very quickly.
Xalia lifts off, and
Xalia is having a nicey time,
and abandons ship, flying through the air and just kind of watching the spectacle. The crew kind of grits their teeth, and they quickly wrap down the mainsail, and the side wing-like sails kind of buffet and creak and scream as it slides down. There is just they turn a little bit and they buffet kind of the air, slowing down just a little bit. Raven yells out, "Hold on, everyone! This is how a bird lands!" And since you all did a very good job of not causing any problems and not allowing any problems to be caused aboard the ship, nothing bad has happened to the ship.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
So you don't have to do any checks to land. Well done.
Hooray.
The ship is intact. Imagine that. There's no pieces missing. Everything is just fine. You managed to ward off the giant eagle. You didn't crash into anything, or any more dragon shards or anything like that. And the bird that is driving the wooden bird crashes the ship into the ground. Just for lack of a better term, that's what happens. The ship is crash landed. The wood railings going everywhere, blom blom flying off. The sailing the sails catch against some stalls and some buildings and just rip and tear into pieces. But the deck maintains its integrity. The bird veers the helm, grabs grabs a part of the wheel and flops to one side, turning it around, and you kind of Akira slide down the street sideways, leaving this huge, deep carving through the sand, and kicking up stone as you land in. People going everywhere, screaming, "Ah! There's a giant ship!"
Oh no.
And you all batten down the hatches, and you land somewhat safely.
Without incident.
Without incident?
Yeah.
No broken bones.
We'll put you in the middle of Zozo when this map activates. Let's see here. And there... Somehow... Some way, since the flight was so smooth, the main part of the boat is intact. Raven guides it down the street, skidding to a stop. There's this huge kind of cracking noise as it impacts the ground, but as it slows to a stop, you can see all of the crew visibly go slack and limp, and just there's a collective exhale, and you have landed successfully in Zozo of Derlusk. There's a resounding cheer from the onlookers as the vessel stops roaring, ruckus applause. Hey, yeah! The Raven bellows out, "Behold, a flying boat that sails through the sky and clouds!" And the bird flies off. Like, legit, he's gone.
He left the vessel?
Yep.
Barely taking any credit for this.
He's humble. I respect that.
So do we just leave now? I guess we're here.
The
Wow.
motley crew.
Sorry, Chuman, I can't get the Zozora unnoticed. Sorry, the Zozora Academy.
Xalia is like on the other side of the building, the city, on like a random rooftop.
Yep.
Kind of preening.
Well, it'd be best if we go ahead and move out quickly. More onlookers will come to the vessel anyway.
Speaking of onlookers, as you begin to exit the vessel, a camel accosts you.
Mm-hmm.
You can see it, like, it just kind of clops up, blump, blump, just chewing its cud, and looks over, like, look, cranes its neck over the railing, and inspects you all. It's a dromedary camel.
No way.
Truly.
Hello? Sort of tentatively asked towards this camel just looking at us. Is there someone on it? Someone near it?
Nope.
Or is it just...
It is just a camel.
a little tentatively say hello? Kind of looking around it to see... Looking around. Is this someone's camel?
The camel just
Can you
stares at you.
speak?
Human just
No?
moves.
Okay.
Gets under like some shade. As he waits for the rest of the party.
Camel kind of... Camel rears back, and you see its front hooves clomp down on top of the vessel as the camel enters. There is now a camel on top of the boat.
Cool.
Okay. Cool.
Alright.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's not our boat anymore, and you just left it, so I guess it's, you know...
It is the camel's boat now.
So it's just part of the city.
People are starting to
Starting
form
it
a
off.
crowd. There are, as you look around, very quickly you have gathered a crowd. People are coming to see what's up. You see this happening as this throng of airship vessel enjoyers have come to see what's going on. What's the
Average
plan?
airship enjoyer. I mean, Xalia is socializing on a roof nearby. I don't know what you want.
Yeah, you're chilling.
Pastiche is going to pick a direction and just start walking.
Could Twig look around and see if he notices Zegrith from the ship going anywhere? Or like just anywhere in the crowd?
Perception or survival? Depending what you're after. Okay. Zegrith's the bugbear. You can see they haven't gone anywhere. They're actually working with the crew to kind of tie down the ship and assess any damages and see if it's salvageable, that kind of stuff. They're just doing normal docking a ship work. It looks like they definitely know what's up. Like, they know what they're doing. Their skill. He's barking out orders. Definitely familiar with this kind of territory.
Okay. I think Twig would just try to make some space from the crowd then. And just get a little bit away.
Alright, if you're trying to get out of talking to people, I need a stealth roll.
A stealth roll. I mean, he's not specifically trying to get out of talking to people. He's just walking,
Okay.
not trying to be stealthy.
All right. Well, we're back in Derlusk. Let's see here. Well, you're able to... Nah, never mind. You're able to just, like, ignore and push past people if that's what you're trying to do. The camel has certainly claimed the boat.
Mm-hmm.
So far, is being ignored by the crew. But you cast a glance back after you get suitably far away, and they're now just trying to shoot the camel, like, or get it off, or like find out who owns it. They're trying to get rid of the camel on top of this vessel. And as you all walk around and kind of split up, and then later reconvene with everybody, you notice that Xalia is not with you. But Xalia, atop the roof, as you are kind of preening, as you mentioned, you can see there are many people walking around carrying books. There are lots of people engaged in some sort of like learning activity. There's also like food stalls or like entertainment stalls, lots of people just moving around. You can see that there are many large university-style buildings. There are a couple other youths on top of roofs, but not the one that you're on. Just kind of hanging out, chilling, reading a book. And you can see people practicing just magic out in the open, just conjuring spells, doing things, doing fireworks. People with wind billowing around them. You can see...
We love casting spells.
And yeah, lots of signs for like learning places, all that kind of stuff. Billboards just talking about how cool books are. Like, books! Read them! Exclamation point! It's got, like,
Truly,
an open book.
it's just like every university town I've ever lived in.
Yep. And as you are now here on the next leg of your adventure, that's it for tonight's session.
Nice.